Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tables, Ladders, and Podcasts, the only podcast that was awarded a Grammy by Lillian Garcia. This is episode 141, Groinal Massage. I am your host, as always, Poit, and joining me on the panel to discuss the week in WWE, we have Wehrman.
You can't just throw the phrase groinal massage in there at random and expect me to have anything witty prepared.
Couldn't even get 30 seconds into the podcast point.
I'm sorry, John, with that title you gave today's show, just...
Is that a thing
Afterlife?
that we name the episodes now?
We do. Last week was One versus Paul, I believe.
It was. And Jabba.
Hello.
Hello. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Well, my groin's pretty tight. I don't know if there's something I can do about that.
I hear Goldust might be able to help you out there.
He might.
But before we go into the Goldust sector, Wehrman, do you have any news?
I do have a fair bit of news for us. Starting with some pretty serious and pretty bad news. As we all know by now, this past Monday, Bret the Hitman Hart publicly announced that he has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. While details about the severity of his condition are scarce so far, Hart has been extremely optimistic. In an interview with Ring Rust Radio, he said, quote, "Hopefully in the near future I can prove to people that I've overcome this battle and be on the better side of it in 6 months or so." I think I speak for all of us when I say we here at TLP join the rest of the wrestling community in wishing Bret the best.
The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be in terms of medical care.
I hope that any medical treatment he has to undergo will be excellently executed. Let's see. On the subject of things being executed, ratings for this week's Raw are down again, drawing only a 2.38 rating for the show. Last week's appearance of The Rock and the Raw debut of AJ Styles popped the ratings up to a 2.9, but the pre-Rumble Raw from the week before only drew a 2.45, so this week's is still down even by normal standards.
Isn't a lowering rating every week the definition of normal standards?
At this point, yeah.
When does it cease to be news, exactly?
I don't know. I'm gonna keep mentioning it until something changes. Either they're gonna do something to turn around, or the company's gonna fucking go under.
Wow.
I feel like eventually someone's just going to realize that Raw hasn't been on television for like a month, and then they're gonna walk up to New England and they're going to see like Vince McMahon just blow gently at Titan Tower, and it falls apart like a dead dandelion. It will just gently flow away.
Oh boy. Let's see. Some more bad news. The ever-increasing injured list continues to grow as NXT low carder Ty Dillinger hurt his knee during a match with Sami Zayn. He apparently took a suplex badly and landed weird, either injuring his knee or his ankle. They haven't said which, but he's definitely hurt.
Good.
Yeah, I saw a video of it. It was a standard spot where someone like escapes from a suplex and lands behind the guy trying to give it to him, and
Right.
he just like his knee just kind of like buckled when he landed.
Hmm.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate, but I mean, I'm not saying I don't care about Ty Dillinger, but
Yeah.
there are people I care about significantly more than Ty Dillinger. I mean, I hope he's okay, but I'm not going to be super upset if I don't see Ty Dillinger every week.
Would you not rate him a perfect 10?
I would put him somewhere around maybe an 8. I don't know.
That started off like
You should go check the scores again.
that started off like an old Johnny Carson late night joke. I'm not gonna say I don't care about this guy, and then you would say something truly horrible like, but I care about everyone else more, which is pretty much what you did say. So.
Yeah.
Let's hope he's listening tonight.
Yeah. That's what I need. I need Ty Dillinger to hate my guts.
That would be amazing, though. If
Just out of nowhere, Ty Dillinger just decides I'm going to watch some random wrestling podcast.
it just pisses him off. You know what? Fuck you, you bastard.
He puts offensive messages about you on his wrist tape and goes out for his matches. That would be hilarious.
Weirman sucks. Perfect -10. Anyway, PW Insider is reporting that Dave Bautista was backstage at this week's SmackDown taping in Tampa and was pitched by Vince McMahon a special appearance at this year's WrestleMania, referee for the main event. Batista, however, reportedly declined the offer, saying that if he is going to return to WWE, he would want a final run, quote, with some meaning behind it. And, I think that's a good call for him. I mean, the last time he showed up to be at Mania, everyone hated him for it.
Well, because I don't think, again, it was that a case of hating him for it. I think it was a case of rejecting the blatant, uninteresting storyline.
Oh, yeah, no. I think I've always been...
got the brunt of it.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of Batista, but I've always liked the guy. And his booking in 2014 was terrible. He was just there to be not Daniel Bryan, and therefore the crowd hated him.
Yep.
The same reason they hated Roman Reigns going to last year's Mania.
And Roman Reigns for the rest of time.
Yeah, probably Roman Reigns for the rest of his career at this point.
We'll certainly get to that.
Let's see. Speaking of WrestleMania plans, rumors are circulating that in addition to Bray Wyatt facing Brock Lesnar in a singles match, Braun Strowman is currently the leading choice for The Undertaker's possibly final Mania opponent. I think we can all agree this was a significant step down from Taker's alleged Plan A and Plan B opponents, which were respectively Sting and John Cena. How do you go from Sting, John Cena, Braun Strowman? Where is the chain of thought there?
Well, have they got big plans for the Strowman or something?
So I did hear one rumor, which I am very skeptical of. But the rumor said that Braun Strowman's wrestling abilities have been purposefully limited on television so that at WrestleMania he can pull out a good match and surprise people.
Okay.
You know what? If he does, then good for him. But it doesn't make him more entertaining to watch now.
No, it doesn't.
The thing is, if people keep announcing that this is Taker's last match, or at least his last Mania match, who cares at this point? And I don't mean that to shit on Taker's legacy and all that, but I'm just saying he got beat 2 years ago for no reason, literally for no reason, and then he beat Bray Wyatt, which anyone can do with a stiff breeze behind them.
Yeah, and now they want us to believe he can beat Brock Lesnar.
And now it's like, okay, then you turned him into an angry old guy who kicks people in the nuts, and now it's his last match ever. Well, so what? You kind of did everything wrong for 2.5 years.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not even against... And it's not even against somebody who's, big enough to be, quote, worthy of it. Yeah, nothing. It doesn't feel important.
I mean, really, I would prefer for Taker's farewell opponent to be someone like Triple H or Kane, someone who has a lot of WrestleMania history with Undertaker.
I never want to see another goddamn Triple H versus Undertaker match.
Okay,
I don't get another 45 minutes of them rolling around on the ground going, "Stay down."
Okay, I should clarify. I don't actually want to see that as a match, but I do think it makes more sense than Braun Strowman.
So you think it should be someone in the mold of a Triple H or Kane, but not necessarily...
At this point, Big E makes more sense than Braun Strowman, because at least Big E is over.
I would actually say make it something of some kind of fucking interest. Make it a fatal four-way of Taker, Triple H, Kane, and Lesnar. The guys who have had the most fucking impact on Taker's career, that are still active people, and make it one giant fucking blaze of glory.
I do believe that given how many big names are injured, you can't cram that many into a single match for me.
I'm not saying this year, because obviously this shouldn't even be his last year now. There's no reason, there's no way to make this a final match unless you bring back Shawn Michaels to get revenge or some shit.
Oh, Christ.
What about a handicap match against Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair?
Oh my gosh.
How about this? A handicap match against Shawn Michaels and God.
Ooh.
Bring out the spotlight again. I don't know. Like, I feel like if this is Taker's last match, which a lot of people are saying it's going to be, Beef Stroganoff is a terrible choice. If it's not his last match, this should just be a really quick mercy killing. Just have Taker show up, tombstone him, and then leave. Because
we want to just completely destroy any credibility that Braun Strowman might have left.
What fucking credibility does he have?
I don't.
He has one move. He does that like bear hug sleeper thing, and then he sells by stumbling and not falling over. I can't wait to see what that guy can do.
I really think that the only way to make Braun Strowman make sense is if it is some weird, and it's going to be very poorly written, but if it is some sort of Bray Wyatt revenge tactic to actually use the entire three-man team he's got, or three-man backup, and actually crush Undertaker once and for all. But he would actually...
know how that usually goes.
Well, that's why I'm saying first of all, it'd be poorly written build-up, and they would probably not pull the trigger, but it would be... The only way to actually end Taker's career is to make it mean something, and since they didn't make breaking the streak mean anything, then at least this way it would sort of be good for someone.
I guess, but I mean, we've already seen the Wyatt family drag Taker off and absorb his soul, and then 2 weeks later he was fine.
Well, that's why you don't drag him off. It's WrestleMania. You set up like a last man standing match, or whatever, between him and Strowman, and then you have the other three show up and say, "By the way, no rules, and we locked Kane in the bathroom." You are sincerely fucked.
No, a freezer.
Okay, if they do have him fight Beef Stroganoff, I think what's going to happen, and I've kind of said this before, Harper and Rowan are going to jump in the ring, and they're all going to start beating him up, and then Sting will come out with a baseball bat so he doesn't actually have to take any bumps because he's still all screwed up, and he'll run the Wyatt family off, and then Taker and Sting will kind of stare each other down and say, maybe we'll finally get to wrestle each other next year, or maybe we'll retire forever.
I just can't get off the idea.
Anyway, I still have some news sections to go through.
All right.
Sorry. Okay. Let's see. After being rather innocuously name-dropped by Stephanie McMahon on Raw, Marty Jannetty went on a rant on social media against Stephanie, going so far as to claim that Hunter may not be the father of their children. Jannetty has since taken the post down, but it's available to find pretty much anywhere because that's how the internet works.
Well, I did hear that Zigman did go all the way.
Well, I mean, if the old legends are true, maybe they're descended from Macho Man.
You know, it's so fucked up when they do shit like that because they can... You know, they can just be like, oh, hey, Marty Jannetty, we can fix everything that's wrong in your life because we are basically billionaires. And instead, we're going to mock you on national television and then be surprised when you don't really appreciate our abuse of our position Like,
Yeah, I
that's-
mean, no, it is cruel that they would just point out like, haha, you don't have a career anymore. But at the same time, I
But
think
they have been doing that to Martin
haha,
Jannetty for like a
cheating on
decade.
your husband is probably a step too far.
maybe, but then again, if it's just, well, we don't fucking know. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe her kids do a really great impression of Randy Savage. Who knows?
Anyway, on the subject of former WWE stars on bad terms with the company, Joni Lauer, aka Chyna, recently posted a video on YouTube expressing her desire to mend fences with WWE. Quoting, saying, "It's just something I'd love to resolve, and I haven't been able to do that. I can atone and say sorry for the things that I've done. That's all I want to do." End quote. Despite being the first and so far only woman to hold the Intercontinental title, being one of the most recognizable names of the Attitude Era, WWE management, and Triple H in particular, have all but flat out stated Chyna will never have a spot in the Hall of Fame, ostensibly due to her post-wrestling career in adult films, although nobody seems to mention that Sunny also did porn and is in the Hall of Fame. So, yeah, I think it's... I was never a huge fan of Chyna, but I do think it's kind of sad that they've just kind of erased her from history, just because her ex-boyfriend runs the company now.
Yeah, she did have a very large role during the Attitude Era. She was a unique specimen.
Yeah, and considering how WWE has this hard-on for the Attitude Era and gives Hall of Fame spots from everyone from like Rikishi to the fucking Godfather, I don't see why they wouldn't give one to her, except because Triple H is being petty about their former relationship.
Well, God was mentioned earlier. I wonder if they're going to put God in the Hall of Fame after his single appearance.
I don't know. Did they put Drew Carey in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, well then.
Would they put God in the celebrity wing? Does he qualify as a celebrity, or do they have like a deity wing?
I don't
pretty
know.
famous. I'm sure it qualifies as a celebrity.
All right. Speaking, when I sort of name dropped Sunny there, Sunny, who remember is both a WWE Hall of Famer and a full-time porn star, has gone public about wanting to do a porno with Chyna, challenging her to a quote-unquote sex match for Vivid Video. So that's a thing that might happen.
That is the least creative way she could have put that.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive I don't want to see that, and
Only
unfortunately,
pretty positive?
yeah, I'm pretty positive I don't want to see that. But I'm also pretty positive sooner or later I'm going to see it.
Would
At
you?
least it's not a 30-man battle royal.
How about this? 2 girls, 1 championship. Would you
So
want
you
to
have
wear
any
them?
other news, Wehrman?
Yeah, I do have 2 pieces, probably the only 2 pieces of good news. Shinsuke Nakamura is scheduled to report to the Performance Center in Orlando this week and has likely arrived in the States as I speak. He's scheduled to debut at the NXT TakeOver event in Dallas, and while his opponent hasn't been announced yet, rumor has it that Nakamura will face off against Sami Zayn, which would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And the other last piece of news I've got is Lucha Underground has already been extended to a 3rd season. So, yes.
Cool.
I don't know, like, I know I've been pitching Lucha Underground to you guys for, like, a year now, but seriously, it's really fucking good.
Okay, fine, I'll watch it. Jeez.
Quit your nagging, Wehrman.
I have a couple bits of news.
Ooh.
So you may have noticed that both Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt were absent from Monday Night Raw this week.
Death in
That's
the family,
because-
death in the family, death in the family.
Wow, dude. That is because their grandfather, Blackjack Mulligan, was hospitalized.
Hospitalized. So close.
And so they, along with their father, IRS, went to go and see him missing Raw.
That must be a really interesting family around the dinner table. Imagine if they were in character the whole time.
IRS is Blackjack Mulligan's son-in-law, not son.
I would love to see, like, you know how, like, when Dusty used to show up in sketches with Goldust and Dashing Cody Rhodes, and he'd be like, "Boy, I raised some weird kids." I would love to see Blackjack Mulligan hanging out with Erwin R. Shyster and his kids Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas.
Oh, by the way, on that last comment, Mr. Afterlife, Owen Brown tells you to stay classy.
I do what I can, Owen, and I do it for you, the TLP listener.
And one final bit of news. It is possible that Rusev is now the League of Nation because there are multiple reports that Del Rio is now injured in some manner. There are mixed reports of it being either a neck injury or a lower back injury, believed to be caused by his recent trip to Suplex City at the Royal Rumble.
Is there
a thought that a guy famous for dumping people on their heads might accidentally injure someone?
Is there a more singular version of the word league? Because it usually implies that there's like more than one thing in it.
I believe a League of Nation would just be a nation.
Let's go with that then. The Nation. He's going to be, So he's just going to like show up with like Farouk.
That would be great.
I can see like Rusev scrambling and just being like, shit, Hornswoggle, you're Irish, get over here. Fuck. I need an American who's not doing anything.
Wait. There was no American in the League of Nations.
There might be now. We're running out of fucking options.
They already well established that they scoured the entire nation of the United States and couldn't find anyone worthy of being in the League of Nations. So to go back on
check
that,
NXT, fucking, we'll find somebody.
Also, how are they not worthy of joining the easiest to beat group in the fucking company? The Social Outcasts were doing better than the League of Nations.
Roman Reigns has a 2-0 win record over the League of Nations in 4-on-1 handicap matches.
Oh my God, wouldn't it be great if Rusev was like, fuck, I need another English dude. I'll take Adam Rose, and then Slater's all like, you can't have him. He's on my team, and then there's like a feud over who gets custody of Adam Rose.
Man,
Adam Rose on a pole match at Fastlane.
But
he could try to get Fandango to join him because he doesn't know what Fandango's accent is, but he's sure it's got to be something foreign.
He could I don't know, if they needed a new Englishman, maybe they could turn Neville heel.
I don't think Neville could work as a heel.
Well, he does look like a goblin. And very
That's true. He could be from fucking Narnia.
Finn Balor could replace Ireland in the League of Nations.
It's
not nearly as funny.
Yeah. Given how completely inept every stable in WWE is all the time, I'm really glad AJ Styles didn't debut with Gallows and Anderson, because I don't want to see the Monday Night Raw version of Bullet Club.
By the way, we mentioned earlier the whole Stephanie talking about Jannetty, and when she immediately also said, Randy Orton never saw it coming with Evolution, I was like, maybe don't bring that up. Because A, he doesn't need another reason to be pissed off if he ever comes back. And B, that was your husband betraying his close friends. Don't bring up the fact that he does that. When you're supposed to be the authority figure, it just doesn't do you any fucking favors, you idiot.
Has the Authority done anything recently that's done themselves any favors?
I'd take out the word recent.
I hate Roman Reigns so much that I'm going to give him a title shot every goddamn month.
With Goldust recently bringing back his guy with seizures gimmick, I've been wondering if they were going to bring up how that actually started.
Oh yeah,
that
when
would be great.
Randy and Batista electrocuted him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shall we delve into our talking points?
Speaking of which,
Yes.
can we start there?
Well, have we
Goldust
successfully
with
navigated the
electrocuting
news
Goldust?
asteroid field?
Because I find it so personally difficult. Because Goldust is a hero of mine, and like if R-Truth was kidnapped for ransom, and then when you dropped off the money, they killed him anyway, I wouldn't necessarily stop watching Raw.
I don't know what you're saying.
I think he maybe doesn't like R-Truth all that much.
I hate
Here's-
R-Truth.
Here's what I don't get. Okay, they brought back Goldust at Survivor Series looking like he was specifically going to renew his feud with Stardust,
Uh-huh.
which is the only point of bringing back Goldust now. And instead, since Survivor Series, they have done absolutely everything except interact with each other again. Why do they forget that this feud happens? Like, Goldust is one of the best workers in the last 20 years. One of the most underappreciated wrestlers in the history of WWE. Cody Rhodes is a phenomenal performer. And the Stardust character, when he's not written as guy who loses to a person who plays a superhero on TV, is extremely entertaining. And they just decide, you know what, fuck it, we're not going to do it. We're going to have him pal around with Daffy Duck the crackhead.
On the other hand, Goldust's, for many people, his finest period of time was when he was fooling around with Booker T.
Right, but R-Truth is not Booker T.
However,
I mean, I get that he's a black person, but he's
fact
not,
that
he's not the same black person.
the fact that Goldust is doing that same stuff again, you could put him there with a mop, and it would be somewhat entertaining still.
I would much rather watch him interact with a mop than interact with R-Truth.
What about Moppy Too Hottie?
Wow. Okay, so who would you guys prefer to have as Goldust's reluctant tag team partner?
Nobody. I want to see him fucking feud with Stardust.
Okay, well, let's just go ahead and assume that that's not an option.
Brock Lesnar.
I'm not sure that is an option. Okay, well, that's...
Incredible.
Actually, I have a suggestion.
Oh.
The Primetime Players. They're back together, and Titus has been feuding with Stardust, so it kind of makes sense if we want to have Goldust and Stardust go against each other.
Okay, that's off the table. There's no Goldust Stardust interaction for a full year. Okay, right now we're gonna say, let's assume we're gonna go for a full year with Goldust and a tag team partner that the world doesn't find fucking excruciating.
Wade Barrett.
Fandango.
Tyler Breeze.
So sorry, I take back the Fandango and change it to Johnny Curtis.
Tyler Breeze would actually be entertaining. They could call themselves the Golden Breeze or something.
Yeah, and I mean, plus,
Sounds like
It sounds like something on Urban Dictionary, I know.
I'm actually checking it right now.
But Goldust is just a fun guy when he's doing that. When he's just coming out and having matches, it's okay because he's obviously good in the ring, but you do miss that vital element of what made him entertaining in the past. When he's just allowed to be that really creepy, annoying guy that we grew to love.
his stuff with Booker T and The Rock back in 2002 was fucking it was the stuff of dreams. They were such an incredible team.
He still knows how to do it. It's just some people don't appreciate the fact that it's R-Truth on the receiving end of it.
I think
Right,
that would
because-
probably be everyone.
Okay, so
R-Truth is like having your teeth slowly pulled out while being
Of your
set on
ass.
fire.
While being set on fire. Although, if I had to be set on fire and have my teeth slowly pulled out, I'd rather they took place at the same time to kind of minimize the time frame that I was experiencing all that pain.
Okay, well, they'll light you on fire, then, like, throw a bucket of water on you, then pull out a tooth very slowly, then set you back on fire, and just continue that process.
I do think Wade Barrett would benefit immensely from being a Goldust tag team partner, because Wade Barrett is a lot like Booker T back then, which is to say he is a person who can say words and move in the ring, but there is absolutely nothing intrinsically interesting about that person.
You know what? You could call them 24 Barrett Gold as well.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Okay,
Well-
so I've done some research and discovered what Golden Breeze is.
Oh?
Oh,
It is an
boy.
establishment in Ontario that breeds golden retrievers and Bernese mountain dogs.
Oh, well, that's not so bad.
You're not going to say, like, and it's also when you...
And they fuck them!
Yeah.
No. No.
Okay, then.
All right, so
So, shall we...
if you
shall
want a
we-
Canadian dog, Golden Breeze.
So let's navigate our way onto some of the major talking points of the week, shall we?
Goldust teaming up with the crackhead is not a major talking point?
I don't think it quite qualifies. So, first of all, this buddy-buddy Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose situation. Is it not abundantly clear to everyone on planet Earth that Dean Ambrose is at least 4.5 times more popular than Roman Reigns and at least 3.7 times more talented than Roman Reigns?
Those are exact numbers there.
When they were doing their backstage bit, and then Stephanie shows up and does off like you're strangling an ostrich. All I could think of was Roman Reigns. You know that? Okay, the court scene in Ghostbusters 2, where Louis Tully he's got Pete Venkman on the stand, and he's like, and you guys were just scared, right? And then Venkman just leans in and goes, well, just mumbles, incoherent nothingness. And then Tully's like, yeah, they were just doing what they thought was the right thing, right? And then Bill Murray just mumble, mumble, mumble. And then someone else says words. That's all I could think of, because Roman Reigns doesn't speak like he gives a shit about anything.
Yeah.
That whole bit was just him. Your stuff. Like he's a fucking high school girl who's trying to figure out if looking goth is sexy or sad.
Here is my problem, apart from the fact that Roman Reigns constantly looks like he doesn't care about what's going on, and the fact that the Authority are fucking morons for constantly giving him title shots, even though they supposedly hate him.
Uh-huh.
Why are we acting like Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns have not wrestled each other before, when we've seen them wrestle each other for the title twice last year? Why is it a problem now?
I think they're trying to make it... well, fuck, I mean, that's a stupid fucking question, though. Because this is also, hey, it's the end of an era, even though we faced off 10 fucking years ago also, but we're never going to talk about that. We're going to pretend that didn't happen. They do this shit all the fucking time.
Yeah, but not this recently. It's like, Survivor Series was 3 months ago, when Ambrose and Roman beat the shit out of each other for the title. And as soon as the match was over, they were fine with each other. Like, why is this suddenly an issue when it's not even a title match? The whole match should just be Reigns and Ambrose teaming up to beat the holy fuck out of Brock Lesnar, like double powerbomb him through all of the tables in the building, and then as soon as he's unable to get up, they flip a coin, and whoever wins the coin toss takes the pin.
So I mean, on SmackDown this week, when Ambrose and Reigns were at the highlight reel, they were very upfront with yeah, we're friends and we're gonna fight each other at the pay-per-view, and That's basically it.
Yeah, they're sabotaging their own angle because the angle doesn't work.
Well,
Like, this is so... Okay, and even if Triple H's master plan works, and he gets Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns to destroy each other, he then has to fight Brock Lesnar.
and that's something
The
that
guy
bothered
who
me.
gave him a concussion and broke his arm twice.
That really bothered me when after the whole thing on Raw, the confrontation with Ambrose and Lesnar, and then like halfway through the show, Triple H comes backstage to poke a stick at fucking Brock Lesnar. Which, first of all, just never in any room do that.
Yeah, there is nobody on the roster who I don't believe for a second Brock Lesnar could not just rip their head off with one hand.
Thou
Well,
shalt not intentionally provoke Brock Lesnar.
every wall in the locker room is concrete, and some of it is coated with metal. You don't fight that guy in that room. And Triple H walks up and he's like, "Hey, what are you, some kind of pussy?" And it's like, "Remember that time that you broke my arm a couple of times, pussy?" Like,
And then
what are you doing?
broke my best friend's arm just to piss me off.
Yeah, like, you are bad at, like, Skeletor is over there going, Triple H, maybe you should think your plans through more often.
So here's what confused me a bit about this angle of this episode. So Stephanie's talking to Roman and Ambrose, and like, oh well, at Fastlane, you two are going to be in a match, and it's not just going to be you guys, it's also going to be Brock Lesnar. But tonight you have a match against the New Day, and at this point I got really excited. I thought it was going to be Lesnar and Ambrose and Reigns in a 6-man tag against the New Day, because that would be really interesting.
Yeah, but then
and
you
she's
forgot
like,
that you're watching this was just a glorified house show. I get that because WWE is based in New England, they don't give a shit when they come down to the South. But for fuck's sake, give us something.
Well, what was really insane was when she said, and I have to paraphrase, I didn't write it down, but she basically said, yeah, you'll be facing each other at Fastlane, but tonight, let's see if you can work together against the New Day. And it's like, who
Obviously we can.
talking to?
Like,
Do
you're talking about...
show that you are in all the time?
It's like not only have we seen Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns team up every goddamn week for the last year, for the 2 years before that, they were 2/3 of the most dominant tandem act in the history of modern wrestling.
Okay, there's certainly a lot of tension based on whether they can team up, isn't there?
They are the friendliest rivals in WWE today.
Yeah.
Maybe in WWE history.
Like, it's so stupid that I feel like it's telegraphing a heel turn that isn't coming.
Definitely.
Like, it makes no goddamn sense.
Well, remember that.
And like you said, everyone in the audience, everyone backstage except for Vince, everyone in the entire WWE universe knows that Roman is floundering and Dean Ambrose is only there to keep his head above water. And in so doing, he has become way more popular than Roman.
So you think Dean Ambrose is just essentially a lifeboat?
Yeah, Dean Ambrose is becoming what Daniel Bryan was 2 years ago. He's becoming too popular to ignore in the face of the guy they want us to love, but we don't.
So last time we just had Daniel Bryan publicly endorsing Roman Reigns and saying, well, I couldn't get the job done because I'm too crippled now. So everyone should love this guy instead.
Didn't you guys hear how many piped-in cheers Roman Reigns got on SmackDown this week?
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous.
Did you hear during the fucking main event on Raw when he got tagged in and the crowd completely fucking just shit all over him? Oh my god. They cannot be unaware of this.
It's because they wanted to see more of Big E rhythmically spanking Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
No.
I really feel like this is just Vince having that fuck you stubbornness that he always seems to have. Just, you're gonna like what I say you like because I'm Vince McMahon, damn it, and I say you like Roman Reigns.
You know what? I sincerely wonder if, and maybe this is naive or something, but I sincerely wonder if he's actually been watching the show, or if he just comes into work and gets updates, and since he made the decision so long ago that he saw Roman a few times, and he decided Roman's going to be the new guy, that he doesn't care what people are telling him about what's happening on the show, because he chose Roman, and that's what you're going to do.
I would assume that Vince at least saw the show on the nights that he was on the show.
Yeah, but that's been pretty rare compared to how long they've been shoving Roman at us, and we've been throwing him back up.
Well, okay, Vince has gone on record saying stuff like, I would rather make $1 my way than make $1 million someone else's way. So I honestly think he's just got it stuck in his head that he's going to make this work. WrestleMania 30 was his gimme to the people who wanted to see a non-conventional superstar in the main event. He was like, okay, fine, you can have Daniel Bryan, but next year is my turn. Next year I get my guy.
Seth Rollins?
Well,
that was clearly planned.
Okay, he had to bail at the last minute. So I was like, okay, now, come hell or high water.
This time for real.
Yeah.
I mean, they've given themselves an opportunity if they want to rescue Mania already with the match they've set up, because obviously Triple H versus Dean Ambrose would be a much more compelling match. Even Triple H versus Lesnar Part 8 would probably be more compelling than Triple H versus Roman as the main event.
The only thing that I think could save it if they do Triple H versus Roman is if they do a finger poke of doom and have Triple H laid down for Roman and anoint him as the Authority's new chosen one.
You know, it's weird because everyone kind of felt like, oh, well, clearly Bryan's going to win all this in one night. But when he did, even if you expected it, it was cathartic.
Yeah.
You felt like we got away with it. Because
And
you
yet-
imagine Vince was just sitting in the back. And that was the plan. But you know it could have changed at any time. As the match was going on, you just think, actually, this isn't what I want at all. Quick, you can't have Daniel Bryan win that match. Get the message through to the ref to tell them. So you're just happy that it happened before someone in the back changed their mind.
Yeah.
But yet, when this face in Roman Reigns gets the win over Big Bad Triple H, it will be entirely the opposite. You will feel cheated by the face finally getting one over on the bad guy.
Well, for one, the feud between Roman and the Authority has been nothing but Roman getting one over on the bad guys. Because the Authority just keeps shooting themselves in the foot and keeps giving this guy opportunities because they're morons.
I laugh at that all the time, but it's always so funny.
Triple H being the top heel right now and facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I wasn't here to say this last week after the Rumble, but I'm going to say it now. This was, to me, an admission of complete failure on WWE's part. They have utterly failed to get Roman over and to create convincing threats for him as the main event guy. In the absence of Seth Rollins, the top heel spot should have gone to either Bray Wyatt or Kevin Owens. But Bray Wyatt has been made to look like a complete loser for the last 2 years, and Kevin Owens is having these meaningless 50-50 feuds with Dolph Ziggler where one person wins one match, the next person wins the next match, and none of it means anything. So,
You know, while I was watching that Kevin Owens Dolph Ziggler match on Raw, I was thinking to myself, why are these two guys not 2001, let's say, Undertaker and Mick Foley? If you're gonna have let's say Lesnar and what's his fuck? I already forgot his name. Roman Reigns being The Rock and Stone Cold. Why do you not have a second tier of immediate go-to top talent?
I don't know, it's just Vince and Kevin Dunn and Triple H and everyone else in charge of putting together Monday Night Raw have utterly destroyed the idea of an upper mid-card. It's just the guy at the very top and a ton of people who have nothing going for them.
It's so weird.
Yeah,
it's a sad state of affairs indeed.
Yeah, I mean, we've been watching regularly together for like 5 years now, and there has been no improvement. Every time it looks like something is about to happen, they just immediately nuke it. Like,
No.
it's...
You did talk about the piped-in cheers earlier. Did anyone else hear the really horrendously obvious piped-in boos for the New Day on SmackDown?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How out of place was that? When was the last time the New Day got booed?
When they were faces.
It doesn't happen. So why are they still pushing that agenda on us?
Because they're not paying attention. They
That's
are
what I'm saying,
not
though.
they are not giving us what they want, and they are forcing on us what we don't want.
It's so
Going back to ignoring the Goldust and Stardust feud to have Goldust hang out with Crackhead Bob.
So should the New Day just turn face, or would that be bad for their characters?
It would be bad for their characters.
They would
I don't
probably
think they can actually-
they would change their behavior if they were faces.
Yeah, I don't think that as a group they can be faces. I think what will happen is they will be tweeners that the crowd enjoys watching, and that guys like Ziggler or whoever will acknowledge that the fans appreciate, but will begrudge having to actually work with. Which is fine. That's fine. You know, because even the New Day themselves, they're not evil. They came out and they said, hey, this tag team is really fucking good, and that tag team is really fucking good, and we had a hell of a match, but we're also still obnoxious cunts, and while we say good job to you, better job to us.
And then all the face tag teams run back in and just turn heel on them and beat them up for no reason.
Yeah, like, it was just...
Yeah, it's the problem they have with every character that isn't a super serious superstar. They don't know what to do with them, and so they're just bad guys who lose all the time. The Social Outcasts, bad guys who lose all the time. Stardust, bad guys all the time. Tyler Breeze, bad guy who loses all the time. Anyone who is considered weird or nerdy or out of place is immediately cast as the bad guy who loses all the time.
Except the New Day.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, they still lose to the important people on the show.
What they need to realise with the New Day is that when you have someone feuding with them, like the Usos have been, they can't just come out and say, haha, this New Day, they suck, right, guys, and expect the audience to go along with it.
Yeah, even
No.
Chris Jericho couldn't pull that off.
I disagree entirely. They don't need to realize anything about the New Day, because as soon as they do, as soon as they are thinking about the New Day, they will say, you know what we should do, and entirely disintegrate it.
The problem is, at the moment, we're going to end up in a situation where somebody, probably the Usos, as faces, are going to dethrone the New Day and get booed out the building.
That's
That
fine.
moment is probably coming.
Very
That's
probably.
fine.
It's going to be, yeah, it's going to be Triple H and Roman Reigns in miniature.
And then it'll be a case of, well, when the New Day come out, they're booing our face tag team champions, so let's just shuffle the New Day out of the way a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get the Daniel Bryan treatment. Let's hope not. So,
When is
shall we
his
move?
contract up, by the way?
Daniel Bryan?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I don't know, but it's like I think it's like a year or so.
How many more doctors does he have to get to clear him before he can actually get back in the ring?
I honestly feel like at this point they're never going to clear him because they don't want him to derail Roman.
Yeah, I just want him to leave the company so he can wrestle again.
Yeah. Like, okay, if he is healthy, there is absolutely no excuse for them not using him. If the night after Fastlane, AJ Styles comes out and says, like, hey, it's cool that I'm here and all, but let's be honest, there's only one reason I'm here. It's to have a big match at WrestleMania. Where's my opponent? And fucking Daniel Bryan comes out. I will forgive everything. Every bad piece of booking they have ever subjected me to, I will be perfectly fine with if it means I get AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania.
No, you
There is
won't.
no excuse.
You're quite easy to please then, aren't you? Years of abuse, and that one match will completely
Well,
redeem it.
here's the thing, though. They're not going to do it. They're not going to fucking do it.
Did you just
Because-
authority your own happiness?
Yes. This is what being a viewer of WWE has done to me. Thinking, hey, this would be really cool if this happened. It's a shame they're going to make something that sucks instead. They're going to have... they're probably going to have AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, which is still going to be a really good match. And then Daniel Bryan will have a segment where he comes out and says, boy, it really sucks I can't wrestle again, but hey, how about Roman Reigns, huh? I believe in Roman Reigns because I fought the Authority, and now he's fighting the Authority. Can Roman Reigns beat Triple H? Yes, yes, yes. And everyone will just feel fucking dead inside.
You know what kills me is I'm torn because it's part of you wants Daniel Bryan to just nut up and walk out.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, if Daniel
another
Bryan...
part of you also wants you to say, no, Bryan, just take the free fucking money and then walk.
Yeah. Like, so much of me wants to see Daniel Bryan just show up in fucking New Japan, or just go back to doing some indie shows in Ring of Honor, or, I don't know, give Lucha Underground a big boost or something.
Mm-hmm.
Anything than just sitting around being sad and begging Vince to let him do the thing he loves, and Vince saying, well, I would, but good at what you do, and you're really, really popular, and that doesn't gel with me trying to get everyone to like this guy who isn't really good and isn't popular at all. So instead, I'm going to keep you on the shelf until your contract expires.
I feel like there may be reasons that Daniel Bryan has not been cleared to wrestle that are independent of Roman Reigns.
Okay, yeah, I know he's got a history of injuries, but he's been cleared by, like, 4 or 5 different doctors at this point.
I thought he's been cleared by 2.
Still, it's more than the one doctor at WWE who is saying no.
So, I would not be entirely surprised if Daniel Bryan is cleared by WWE later this year. Keep in mind that Dr. Maroon, who is the head of WWE Medical, was one of the doctors who was portrayed in the recent movie that came out a month or 2 ago about sports-related concussions. And he was portrayed very negatively in that movie. So they may be wanting things to calm down on that front before they clear someone who has a history of concussions.
It's possible, but I'm still very much of the opinion that they are just trying to keep Daniel Bryan from messing up their plans again like he did last year.
So, and that could also be the case. There could be a multifaceted reason here.
But okay, if Daniel Bryan does come back at some point this year, maybe SummerSlam or fucking Battleground or whatever, at some point there is no excuse for not booking him against AJ Styles or Kevin Owens or Shinsuke Nakamura. Just let me fucking see it. Even if you put him on like a Brock Lesnar part-time deal where it's like, okay, you have like 2 matches a year and you can't do the flying headbutt and you can't do the suicide dive.
How about if they bring him back and he immediately takes like 5 ring apron power bombs from Kevin Owens? Good or bad idea, would you say?
Probably
Bad
bad.
idea?
As long
Probably
as
bad.
he doesn't do any stupid fucking diving headbutts.
Okay. So, AJ Styles was touched on a minute ago. So, let's talk about the way the commentators are treating him, shall we? Because maybe 1 or 2 of them have been praising him, but the others have been pretty much giving him the, well, whatever he did was somewhere else, so that doesn't matter, he's still got to prove himself, so you better not start liking him just yet.
God, fuck Jerry Lawler to death.
A little harsh.
No, fuck him. I am so done with him. Okay, on SmackDown, Mauro Ranallo, you know, the guy who's trying to get people to care about the show they're watching,
Uh-huh.
is talking about all of AJ Styles' his accomplishments. You know, he's the first American wrestler since Brock Lesnar to win the IWGP title. He's kind of the heart and soul of Ring of Honor and of TNA and everywhere else he's wrestled. He's basically the new Sting, the best guy that Vince never got. And Lawler spends like a solid 2 minutes going on and on and on about how none of that matters because it wasn't in WWE.
Which
And
is
then he's like,
bullshit anyway,
Yeah.
because Styles shows up and beats 6-time world champion, 9-time intercontinental champion Chris Jericho.
Yeah, and the night before that, he gets a fucking hero's welcome at the Royal Rumble, and he goes move for move with the current champion and makes him look like a putz until the next guy comes in. So, I don't get with this whole, like, none of what he's doing counts because he's not in WWE. They're fucking sabotaging themselves because, you know, God forbid we get excited about somebody. Like, there's been, okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Just the converse, on Raw, on Miz TV, Miz was, like, totally, like, listing accolade after accolade.
Yeah, and then turning around and saying, but ha ha ha, you're short and you have a southern accent. And then Gibbles starts calling AJ Styles the rookie redneck. It's like, okay, first of fucking all, AJ Styles has been wrestling longer than John Cena. Like, he's a fucking 18-year veteran. People bring this up when they're hyping him up. He is not a fucking rookie. And
well,
second of
that's
all,
okay, because JBL's not a commentator.
yeah. And second of all, okay, he has a southern accent. That is the extent of his redneckness. Other than him being religious. But like, okay, like he doesn't come out with like the old Jesse and Festus music about biscuits and gravy or any of that bullshit.
Yeah.
So where does this redneck thing come from other
Isn't
than
one of those
he's
in
from
the
Georgia,
North?
therefore he's a fucking hick?
Give it time. If he doesn't immediately take off, he could end up being saddled with one of those gimmicks.
He already has taken off. On SmackDown, when he broke out when he finally got to do the Styles Clash, people fucking lost their minds.
Well, he may have taken off, but has he grabbed that brass ring?
Oh,
And
my
okay,
goodness.
and Jerry Lawler, halfway through the match, it was like, well, if he's so great, he should have won the match by now. It's like, just fucking die again, please.
Are you going for the record of wishing death on people in a single podcast?
Apparently just Lawler.
I know. I think it was on JBL just then, wasn't it?
You
So-
know, I think it's implied that I wish death upon JBL every episode we do.
I'm pretty sure the current record for wishing death on people, which was set by you, stands at round about 11.
Probably.
I think
And it was probably towards JBL.
It was probably in the aftermath of a Royal Rumble at some point in the past as well.
Yeah, I know I've, at least in the span of one podcast, wished death upon JBL, Jerry Lawler, Triple H, and myself.
And when we did the first Yambag Awards, Stephanie actually won the Go Away and Die award. We didn't bring that category back this year.
It's not enough that you just go away and leave my world, but I also want to know that you've left everyone else's world as well.
Yeah, it's like, I want you to just not be anymore,
I need
okay?
that comfort.
Owen Brown raises an interesting point.
That got dark.
Owen Brown says, Lawler is in JBL levels of hate with Noah Man now. And I would say it seems odd as well because Lawler is actually getting back to kind of what he's good at.
Kind of.
Being a heel.
Yeah.
What, getting divorced?
I wouldn't say he's good at that.
Prowling for jailbait.
You better be good at it by now.
Just because you're a veteran at something doesn't mean you're good at it. Look at Bob
Look at
Sapp.
JBL.
Yeah. So, let's move on, shall we? The Divas division. Quick points on this. First of all, you thought there was a kind of a divide between the female wrestlers that matter and the total divas. They were in their separate universes almost. However, now the title picture seems to have suffered from an attack of Brie mode.
This, oh god, this made me so fucking angry.
I think this makes sense, and I'm going
No.
to.
Okay, well go ahead, and then I'll tell you why you're wrong.
As will I.
Okay, so right now, it seems pretty clear that it's building towards a Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks triple threat at WrestleMania, right?
Seems that way.
Okay, so, except Sasha Banks is not yet all that established on the main roster.
Except for being far and away the most popular woman in the entire Divas division.
But I mean, she hasn't really had much in the way of like significant matches since coming to the main roster.
Probably, but
So, before you continue with that, I'll just add in this little bit to the talking point, in that Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch now seem to be forming some kind of alliance to take down the other two members of the former Team Bad, which is obviously what's going to happen at Fastlane. There's going to be a tag match between them, which is keeping them occupied, which has opened up the possibility of Brie mode infecting.
Exactly, and so then Charlotte needs something to occupy her for Fastlane, and enter Brie Bella.
counterpoint to that, Brie Bella sucks.
Yes, I say we're about even right now in the debate.
A, okay, here are my problems with this, how it's been executed so far. A, Brie Bella's fucking terrible. B, we're back to having fucking 3-minute matches with distraction roll-ups. C, how many fucking times do we have to do the so-and-so has pinned the Divas champion angle for a title shot? Why do we keep doing this?
Hey, she didn't do it for
They do it with the tag titles, they do it with the Intercontinental title, they do it with the US title, they do it with the Diva title. It's...
She put herself in the title picture, or in the title conversation, as the commentators like to say.
Is it bad
Yeah, but
to...
why is it?
Hold on. Is it bad to award a championship match to someone who has beaten a champion?
No, it is bad when that is the only title storyline they ever run, and it's all they fucking do. How, like, what other ways have they had in the past 5-6 years we've been watching to gain, access into the title conversation other than just beating the champion?
I think Paige went with the dead brother route.
Yes.
Well, and that's the other thing. It's really obvious that Brie is getting a sympathy push right now because Nikki Bella might not ever wrestle again. And so they're trying to use that, oh, hey, my sister's crippled, feel bad for me, give me the title, or a title shot at least, instead of a match that we would like to see.
In legitimate sports, is there ever a situation where the champion just repeatedly has non-title matches until someone beats them, and then, okay, that person's worthy of a title shot now? That just doesn't happen. Why is that a thing in wrestling?
Because the writers don't care.
The
don't
people
care.
below the champion fight each other until one of them emerges as the obvious contender, and then they fight for the title.
Yeah.
What's hard about that?
There's no contenders list in WWE. There's just the number one contender, who is almost always the person who beat the champion on Raw. The person who beat the champion on Raw should be the champion.
Why not just have Brie Bella and one of the other divas, if you want to have her as the number one contender, say between themselves, okay, we're not really making any kind of impact on the divas division right now. They're kind of the top tier, and we need to show them what we can do. Why don't we decide between ourselves that we're going to have like a best of 5 series and go out and put on the most ridiculously awesome matches that we possibly can. Let's say her and Natalya, or her and Paige, or something. And then they go out and put on matches that are actually either pretty good, or at least the commentators will act like they're good, because they're probably not going to be, because they contain Brie Bella.
I would not mind a best-of-5 series between Natalya and Brie Bella.
And then at the end of it,
as long as it was actually given substance.
In the final match, the commentators really put across, well, these two have really gone out of their way to put themselves on the map, and now this is like the final showdown to decide which one of them has elevated themselves up to that point. And surely they would deserve a title shot after this.
Yeah. And instead, though, we get Ric Flair tries to cheat, it doesn't work, there's a roll-up, and now Brie Bella is just now in the title conversation. It's just fucking lazy shorthand writing, and there's no excuse for it on a 3-hour show.
It's because they don't structure the division at all. So it's just, we need this person to be the number one contender. What can we do that will warrant that? And, well, in the champion.
I mean,
we've only got one night to do it, to set it.
They do the same thing with the tag team divisions. Every time, sorry, go ahead.
The WWE writers were the people who, as children, when playing Mario Brothers, took every warp pipe they could.
Yeah, it's just fast forward through a storyline, put it together as quickly and sloppily as possible. Or
story involved.
Yeah, and like you said, there's no point A to point B to point C. They just go from point A and warp all the way to point Q. Or they stay at point E for 3 fucking months.
It's really bad planning for the most part, because they want to do something that would ordinarily take several weeks of logical story progression, and they want to get between those points in the space of a week. So they just shortcut it.
Mm-hmm.
I do have one random question about title shots and putting stories together. So the Royal Rumble, wasn't every championship defended?
I think so.
Don't they normally make a big deal when that's the case on a pay-per-view?
They're supposed to, but I don't think they usually do.
Okay.
Only when it's Night of Champion.
Only when it's not a Champions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which at this point is another show that just needs to fucking go away because it's not important.
Yeah, I'm sure they've had episodes of Raw where every championship was defended.
Probably.
It's not really that special. If that's what the pay-per-views are for, to have the titles be defended. So, shall we move on to some lines of commentary and crowd chants then, since we're around about halfway through the talking points sector?
Sure.
Do you have any, Mr. Point?
I did make note of Tyler Breeze on, I think it was SmackDown, getting a Pocahontas chant due to his brown tasseled attire.
I heard probably the most egregious lie in WWE's commentary, at least in recent history, of all of the just complete denial of reality that Michael Cole and company have tried to make us accept. Titus O'Neil is fun to watch is probably the worst. There was no setup to it. It was just Cole just blurting out, Titus O'Neil is fun to watch. No, he isn't. I'm sorry. I don't have anything especially against Titus O'Neil, but I've never once gone, oh, fuck yeah, Titus O'Neil match. Sign me up.
Yeah,
I will
when you
say,
if you're
they were-
describing his matches, you wouldn't put fun
no.
near the top of
No.
the list.
Two things that made me fucking pause the show and scream into a pillow. At the very beginning of the show, it was once again thanks to Michael Cole's ability to speak the English language. Welcome to Monday, Night Raw, and I hate him. I want to fucking choke the life out of him myself. I'll do it myself. But that horribleness, and then when Del Rio was sitting watching a match doing nothing, and Cole and JBL were bitching about him being there, sort of. JBL described Del Rio as the largest winner of the world's biggest Royal Rumble.
Technically true.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he's not
There's a couple
wrong.
of technicalities there. But I had to back that up a couple of times and be like, how did you manage to get that so stupidly wrong?
Also the smallest winner.
Yeah, of any part of the world's largest Royal Rumble by default as well, because there's only the one.
Now, I've got a couple of things. One of them isn't so much a particular quote, because it went on for quite a few minutes. Did anyone else catch Jerry Lawler on SmackDown repeatedly implying that Byron Saxton was abused as a child?
What?
Over and over again.
I think I vaguely recall this, yes.
Yeah, he said something about how he must have had a miserable childhood and how he had a terrible relationship with his father or something, which is a bit odd coming from him, really.
Wow, why?
I don't know. I think he's just taken the people bully Byron Saxton, but it's kind of light-hearted on Raw, until one of them just says, "You don't have any friends, Byron."
They're so mean to Byron
That's
Saxton.
usually as far as it goes, but Lawler just, like he'd seen other people doing it and just took it to the next level for some reason.
And you know what bothers me the most about it is, unlike Cole and JBL and what's left of the King, Byron Saxton is relatively young and in incredible athletic shape. And he really should just do the WWE good guy thing and beat the fuck out of all three of them.
I
For
would-
constantly disrespecting him.
Could you imagine if, like, one day Byron Saxton just, like, pulls out a kendo stick from underneath the announce table and just starts going to fucking town on them and just, like, starts grabbing a couple of Steve Weisers like Stone Cold?
He'd be the biggest fucking face for the next 10 fucking years. Because no matter what else he does, he beat the snot out of the three most obnoxious, cringe-inducing, just show-ruining people from the last 15 years of programming.
Now, speaking of ruining, Michael Cole did ruin a moment. Now, you'll remember when Kane uttered the phrase, "hard fart victory." At one point. Now, he almost did that. After the little announcement about Bret Hart and his cancer, Michael Cole then came out with the immortal line, "Our thoughts and prayers go out to Bret Hart and his family."
God damn it.
What is a thart?
A thart is what usually goes through JBL's mind, like when he's trying to have an opinion, but his brain just goes.
I mean, pretty clearly, he had trouble deciding in the moment whether to say thoughts or hearts.
Well, maybe that's it. Maybe it's thoughts out to the Hart family is a thart.
Maybe, if you're going to be paid millions of dollars over a 20 fucking year live television career for being able to communicate language to people who speak the same language, use the language as if you yourself can speak it.
It's a Doesn't seem like that much of a stretch.
Just an idea.
I feel like Kevin Owens, when he went out of his way to beat up Michael Cole at the Royal Rumble, during the Dean Ambrose match when he got sent over the table and then just kind of used all of his momentum to just steamroll over Cole. That needs to happen every show. That needs to happen every segment of every show.
Yeah, Cole didn't look happy
Knock Michael
about that.
Cole out.
Michael Cole did not look impressed when that happened either.
No, he did not.
So after Kevin Owens' tantrum on Raw after losing to Ziggler, I did make note of JBL's line, "What the hell did my hat do to you?"
Probably more than he thinks. So speaking of Ziggler beating Kevin Owens, somewhat out of nowhere, why did that happen?
Out of nowhere?
Does that really benefit anyone? Because we still don't take Ziggler seriously, and it just...
I do feel like that if these two are going to have a Best of Infinity series, that Ziggler needs at least one win.
Yeah, I mean, okay. This is a textbook example of a WWE third hour match, or it's a really good match that ultimately means nothing. Because, I mean, Dolph Ziggler... Okay, I feel like Dolph Ziggler has needed a good opponent for a good long while. And Kevin Owens might as well be it, because they have really good matches against each other. Ziggler is really good at selling the fact that he's taking a beating. And Kevin Owens is really good to just laying into people when he's on the offense. So they click. They might as well work together. I do kind of hate WWE's 50-50 booking where one person wins one week, the next person wins the next. But, I mean, I didn't really have a problem with this match. I didn't have a problem with Ziggler going over because...
How about that famouser onto the floor?
Yeah, that was pretty nice.
That looked like it should have killed a guy.
I mean, Ziggler probably could have just won by countout right there.
Yeah, why didn't he try that?
I think it would have been amusing if Ziggler had done just that, and then as Kevin Owens got up after the match, Ziggler told him saying, well, I guess you weren't the last man standing.
Oh.
Now, speaking of things that don't matter, is it about time that we just sent Tyler Breeze back down to NXT?
Oh, that would be a nice bump to his career.
Because what is he doing, really, on the main roster? I mean, this week, that was the only time I can remember that he actually had an entrance in the last couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Usually he's just in the ring and loses.
Which is a shame, because his entrance is half his character.
Mm-hmm. It's so infuriating to see NXT Tyler Breeze compared to Monday Night Raw Tyler Breeze. I mean, who would want to see Tyler Breeze have another match with Jushin Liger, or get another shot at Finn Balor or Sami Zayn, when, hey, we could instead watch him lose in 2 minutes to Titus O'Neil?
And it's not even just the matches. He was allowed to be entertaining in backstage segments with other people, interact with people, because the reactions people have to Tyler Breeze are most of what makes him amusing.
I think since Tyler Breeze came up to the main roster, he was given a single backstage segment, which was good, but it was with Adrian Neville, who he has a history of good segments with.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the problem is backstage segments don't exist that much on the main roster.
No,
it's either in the ring or it's just being interviewed.
Yeah, and again, he's got a character that isn't the standard WWE superstar, so they just book him forever as bad guy who loses all the time. So he has no future in WWE. The only thing he's got going for him is to go back to NXT where people actually fucking appreciate him, but even then, doing so, he comes off as a failure, like the Ascension when they came back.
Let's not talk about the Ascension. It's too sad.
Speaking of the Ascension...
Well, I don't think...
on main event this week, the Tyler Breeze and the Cosmic Wasteland lost an 8-man tag match to the Usos and the Primetime Players.
See? See what I mean? Again, Stardust, Tyler Breeze, two guys who have characters WWE doesn't know how to work with, so they're bad guys who lose all the time to people with no fucking personality like the Usos. And the Primetime Players, since the only thing the fucking Primetime Players have going for them is the millions of dollars chant that nobody does.
Well, I have an Uso talking point for you. Because if you remember, I believe it was Mr. Afterlife had a foolproof method for telling apart the Usos, and that was that you would expect the blue one to be Jay, but it isn't. It's actually Jimmy.
Yes, that was indeed the mnemonic that Afterlife came up with.
Yeah, however, the wardrobe department have thrown a little bit of a spanner into those works, because this week, Jimmy Uso was wearing green, and Jay Uso was wearing blue.
Bastards.
Why?
I don't know. I only know that because they repeatedly pointed out which one was Jimmy while he was in the ring. Often they just say the Uso.
Also, Wehrman, I think I do have to correct you. You and I did the millions of dollars thing during the Primetime Players entrance at WrestleMania last year.
Oh, yeah. But still, are the Primetime Players even still a thing? Like,
I just told you on main event this week.
No, I mean, okay.
Hold on, what's this?
They occasionally still tag. Okay, Titus O'Neil and Darren Young occasionally still tag together, but the Primetime Players as an entity seem to have gone away because Titus O'Neil is still getting his own failed solo push.
Wehrman, I've just found something here. A book entitled The Millions of Dollars Dance and Me. This kind of thing really is my bag, baby, by Nowhere Man.
Okay, you guys got me. I love it. I can't get enough of the Millions of Dollars dance. It is my passion in life. In fact, one of the reasons I'm so miserable watching Raw these days is that they don't do the Millions of Dollars dance enough.
Speaking of things they don't do enough, Big Show alignment changes.
Okay, no, okay. Before any of you complain about this, I want to point out it had been like 14 or 15 months since Big Show had turned heel.
Is that a record?
I don't know, but I think that's long enough. Like, I do not think that him turning face is like some like ridiculous, like quick, like heel turn revolving door thing.
On its own, then no. But when you look at the course of his career, if he's had more heel and face turns than he has had years in the business, I would say it's too much.
Here's my problem.
This one at least went longer than a year.
Here's my problem with Big Show's match on Raw, and it really doesn't have to do with the fact that he turned again. What the fuck was the point of jobbing out Eric Rowan if the Wyatt family were immediately going to beat up Big Show as soon as the match was over?
I was also wondering why either Dean Ambrose or Roman Reigns or Chris Jericho didn't come out and save him.
Yeah. Okay, they're trying to build up the Wyatt family as a threat to Brock Lesnar, the most terrifying man in all of wrestling. And right now, they can't even beat a guy that no one cares about.
I think it's because it wasn't Braun Strowman, and he's the only one they're actually protecting right now.
Yeah, but again, why? I mean, again, he has one move, and it's not even a very impressive one. Like, you know, I mean, Luke Harper is far and away the best worker in the Wyatt family, and they don't do anything with him. Eric Rowan is at least passable, and he's the designated guy who loses all the time of the Wyatt family. Braun Strowman, his entire gimmick is I kind of hug your neck and I don't fall down. Lottie fucking duh.
I kind of hug your neck and I don't fall down sounds like a really good slogan for a toy. Like hug your neck Elmo or something.
That seems like just a class action lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Hug my neck Elmo strangled my baby.
So, shall we move on? There was an interesting match between Kalisto and Neville this week. So why haven't we seen them wrestling each other much?
I don't
until
know.
now?
That was actually a damn good match. It reminded me a lot of like late '98 or early '99 when Rey Mysterio and Kidman wrestled each other for the cruiserweight title.
Back when they could wrestle.
Like,
Yeah.
a Kalisto and Neville match reminded you of the cruiserweight division?
I know, right? But I mean, it is kind of shocking seeing two cruiserweights in WWE who weren't immediately fed to some generic hoss. Like, I'm kind of astounded that Ryback didn't come down and just shell-shock them both just out of principle.
Actually, I guess it's true. Like, Neville's really never had like that, like much of like an underdog match against a big guy, has he?
Well, I mean, he kind of did in
Well-
NXT when he was fighting Baron Corbin.
And there was a bit on the main roster against, oh no, I guess against Rusev and Kevin Owens.
Yeah, but I mean, I really enjoyed the match, and I want to see them fight each other more. But I feel like they've instead put Kalisto into this feud with Rusev as just kind of a placeholder for whenever Del Rio is back. And I don't want to see that fucking match again. It wasn't good the last time it happened. It's not going to be good the next time it happens. Stop trying to make Del Rio happen.
But he's so fetch.
I'm sorry, what?
Point, you're supposed to be the one who gets that.
I'm sorry, I would not describe Alberto Del Rio as fetch.
No, see, because
It's a Mean Girls reference where somebody is
all
trying
the Mean
to...
Girls fans are gonna be out there like, Point, what the fuck is wrong with you? How do you not get this?
I've never seen Mean Girls!
How? You're the gay one.
One, you're gay too!
It's not like Point gay. Come on.
It is a really funny movie, though. It's worth your time.
Is it worth point time, though? Or point in time, as it were. So, I think we've pretty much exited the talking point sector at the moment. Because of the late nature of last week's episode, we already covered that episode of NXT.
Correct.
So, this week's episode hasn't happened yet. So, Mr. Point, I have it on good authority that you received a rather luxurious package this week.
I did. Can you see my little paper umbrella?
We can. So, ladies and gentlemen, obviously you can see that Mr. Point, normally the social media lounge, it's really just a name. I think the level of longevity that we've given the social media lounge has gone up to around about 11 on the scale. And previously it was only measured up to 10, so that should tell you something. So, Mr. Point, would you like to do your thing?
Well, as ever and always, I would like to do a quick shout out to our friends over at the Game Buoy, video game podcast, your stop for left of center gaming news and views. We also invite you to give us your thoughts, suggest talking points of your own, and tell us what you thought of the week in wrestling by posting comments on this video, by tweeting at us at Tables Ladders, or by replying to our posts on Facebook. We also ask that you follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook and share our posts. Rate us and subscribe on iTunes, and shop on Amazon.com using our affiliate link. All of these links can be found on our Podbean page, tablesladderspodcast.podbean.com.
And Point umbrellas will soon be available for purchase.
On tlpshop.com.
Yeah.
We have one of those?
We will do now. So, all that remains to be said, TLP, everybody.
TLP, everybody.
I hope Jerry Lawler dies.